All right, welcome back to the channel. Man, there are some lies that can be told in boxing, but sometimes people tell lies that you just have to look up at the sky and say, "Why?" Tyson Fury, according to his promoter, is a bigger draw in Las Vegas than Floyd Mayweather Jr. was. Let's talk about the bold-faced lie that Frank Warren and Team Tyson Fury told. I can't believe they got it out of their mouth, man. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, we say a lot of things in boxing, or at least promoters say a lot of things in boxing when they want to convince you that what they're selling you is something that is historic, something that is monumental, something that is exceptional, something that is rare, right? Something that will convince you to pay your hard-earned money to see that product be put out in front of you, right? So you hear all kind of stupid stuff. You hear things like Bob Arum telling you Vasily Lomachenko is the greatest fighter since a young Muhammad Ali. Just absolutely ridiculous. The guy's 12-1. He got beat by Orlando Salido. Not quite sure how you get there. Okay. Other ones. Manny Pacquiao is the greatest fighter in the history of boxing. Really? How is he better than Floyd Mayweather Jr. when Floyd Mayweather Jr. beat him? And how is he better than Juan Manuel Marquez when Juan Manuel Marquez could have beaten him 3 times, really, and definitely knocked him completely unconscious the last time we fought him, and he lost to Jeff Horn. I'm not quite sure why that puts him up there with Sugar Ray Robinson. But hey, man, continue to sell your goods, okay? Continue to peddle your nonsense. But this is over the top. This is the type of lie that you just have to think, man, really? I have to now watch everything you say. So what did Tyson Fury's team say? They say, Tyson Fury. Let me read this, because I don't want to misquote this foolishness. Wilder versus Fury was the highest grossing fight to ever take place in Las Vegas. We just can't lose the gate. So he's bringing this up to talk about the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight and how it's important that this fight happens in front of crowds because the crowd is so big, right? And so they're saying, look, it can't happen in the United States because the crowds are banned in the United States. It can't happen in the UK because Tyson Fury doesn't have a license in the UK and crowds are banned in the UK, and they're not going to come back this year, okay? Just not. May not come back till March of next year. That's where I'm thinking. And honestly, man, every day that this thing goes longer, because we are in this now since March. You know what I mean? And it doesn't look like it's abating. So we're looking at probably a full year of this nonsense going on before we get back to any type of normalcy, hopefully March. But there's not going to be any gate. So they're talking about where the fight's going to get made. But to say that Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury was the biggest gate in the history of Las Vegas is so ridiculous that it makes you wonder, what other things are these people saying that are just flat out ridiculous? So, but just to be thorough, let's look at the top grossing fights in the history of Las Vegas. I have it on this screen. I will be turning my head to look at it. Coming in at number 7, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury with a gate of 16,916,000, roughly some money. That's number 7. So right there, 7 is not number 1. But let's look at what the number 1 is. We have 72,198,000 Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Emmanuel Pacquiao. Pac-Man Pacquiao. You should have known off the top of your head that was the number 1 grossing fight in the history of Vegas. It's the number 1 grossing fight in a dollar total, not considering net present value for like the Ali Frazier fight. But that's the biggest fight, monetary fight, biggest gate in boxing history right there. And it's in Vegas. The second one after that was Floyd Mayweather Jr. Conor McGregor. That has 55 million. Now, you have to explain to me how, when you have 17, how you could confuse 17 million being more than 72 million, right? It would seem to me that that is about little less than 4 times the gate, right? Then we go to Sal, Canelo Alvarez, and Gennady Golovkin at 27. That's 10 million more. Then you have Sal, Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, the one before, the second one, which is 24 million, which is again bigger. Then you have Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Oscar De La Hoya, which again is bigger. So I do not doubt that the gate was big. 17 million is a very big gate. And that should go tell you something. And the size of the fight should have told you something about the popularity of Deontay Wilder as well. But let's just assume that that we have that fight. That fight is back in Vegas again. What's the gross of that fight going to be? It's going to be somewhere around the same, maybe a little bit more, but never going to. Look, the idea that Tyson Fury is any way, shape, or form considered a draw in the United States is ridiculous. Okay? He's not. People are only interested in Tyson Fury to the extent that Deontay Wilder is involved. That's it. You had a big man, you had a big black dude who was knocking out everybody. The boxing establishment in the United States for some reason can't stand him, right? Never gave him his credit, right? Tried to tear him down, but he kept knocking people out, kept doing 1 million people watching him on Showtime again and again and again, right? He's on multiple pay-per-views, building his status up. And Tyson Fury comes in as pretty much a stand-in for the mega fight that people really wanted, which was the fight with Anthony Joshua. But now that if Deontay Wilder loses, then what is there for Americans to appreciate in Tyson Fury? And look at the gates of Tyson Fury in the United States when Deontay Wilder isn't there. I think he sold like 1,500 tickets in Vegas, and there was like 3,000 people in attendance, but it was like 1,500 tickets each that he sold for Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallen, right? He's selling 1.5, maybe 3,000 people showing up. Dude, the idea that no. And they're gonna find out too that when Tyson Fury, if he fights in the United States again without Deontay Wilder, dude, those numbers are not gonna be the same, man. They're not gonna be close. They're not gonna be close because there's no other First of all, there's no other American heavyweight for him to fight except for Jared Anderson or Big Baby Miller, who is already, Tyson Fury's. Well, I mean, he might as well fight him because they're both steroid cheats, which is something else amazing to me that's going on over there. Like the disgraced drug cheat, Jarrell Big Baby Miller. But I don't hear anything about the disgraced drug cheat Alexander Povetkin. I don't see anything about the disgraced drug cheat Dillian White. I don't hear anything about the disgraced drug cheat Kid Galahad. The disgraced drug cheat Tyson Fury. The disgraced drug cheat Huey Fury. Like, I don't hear any of that stuff, man. Just watching how this press relates to the UK dude is really one of the reasons why I just have stopped by and large covering UK fights, because the media, well, they have a great boxing environment, right? And very active fans, very engaged fans. At least they did before the pandemic, because my God, they are just flopping something fierce over there with Matchroom. And I think like BT is choking even worse, man. Look, my whole thing on this, and I'm gonna conclude this video with this, man. Look, I don't think God likes ugly, man. I don't think God likes ugly. Tyson Fury cheated. Tyson Fury's a drug cheat. Tyson Fury is one of the dirtiest fighters in the history. Dude, according to Eddie Cotton, rest in peace, Eddie Cotton, the dirtiest fighter that he had ever seen in 30 years of fighting, and he had fought with Andrew Galata. Dude, the dude is just super, super shady. The stuff behind him with his performance enhancing drug test and Martin Carefoot and man, there's just so much nonsense surrounding Tyson Fury, man, that it is not ever going to be he's never going to be able to sell big in the United States, man. So, I just wanted to talk about it for a second, but there's so many stories that get told about people in boxing and how great they are and all that, but to come out there and say that Tyson Fury is had the highest grossing fight in the history of Las Vegas, and you're saying that in the UK, you're just saying that to people that don't know and you're willing to lie about anything. But that's my take on the matter. You let me know what yours is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.